you for joining us at our presentation today called Pension Maximization Strategies Revealed. So for a quick introduction, my name is Steve Kuna and I'm the founder of RetirementCFO. And as you can imagine, we are a retirement-focused advisory firm. Our tagline is actually, we're all about creating successful retirements. I've been in this business for over 30 years. I'm a host of the RetirementCFO channel on YouTube. I'm an author, executive producer of a movie called The Retirement Deception. I've been featured on Wall Street Today, quoted in numerous industry publications, and I've worked with some large financial institutions over many years of my career before founding my own firm. I work both in the corporate retirement plan world and also with individual clients, helping them create date and dollar-specific retirement income plans to ensure they have a worry-free retirement and never run out of money. So let me tell you what I'm going to cover today so that if this is not what you're interested in, I'm going to save you a half hour of your time. Time is our most valuable asset. I never want to waste anybody's. So today I'm going to cover defined benefit plans in America. And I'm also going to talk about what is a pension max strategy, and I'm going to show you a real-life case study. So my ask for you today, I've helped hundreds of clients successfully take command of their retirement, and that's what I want to help you do today. So I ask that you don't multitask. I'm going to move quickly and I won't apologize for it. I'm going to give you lots of things to think about, so take the best and leave the rest. Make a list of questions, and at the end I'll tell you how I can get you all the answers you need. And if you stay with me until the end, I'm going to have a few special gifts that'll be definitely worth your while. So let's talk a little bit about pension plans and why they are so valuable. According to recent studies done by the Wall Street Journal, less than 30% of today's retirees receive income from what's known as a traditional pension plan. This number has been declining every year for the last 20 years and will likely continue to do so. Also, research found in the same study that retirees with a guaranteed income source in retirement were happier and lived longer lives than those who did not. So you may ask why? Well, they worried less about running out of money in retirement. If you have a pension, you are lucky. But now let's beat the system. How long will you live? A question that's virtually impossible to answer. But many retirees are surprised by the current stats provided by insurance mortality tables. As you can see, a 65-year-old married couple has a 50% probability of at least one partner living beyond 91 years old. So retirement's lasting 20, 30, even 40 years are becoming commonplace, and these longer time spans must be considered when planning for retirement. Pension plans generally offer 3 payment options, but what they all have in common is that they provide a guaranteed retirement income that can last for your lifetime, and if you're lucky to be in a federal or a municipal plan, it will provide a cost of living increase. The amount of the pension is based on a formula that varies between plans, but they generally consider your age, time of service, income history, interest rates, age of your spouse, and can be further impacted by collective bargaining agreements. However, making your pension payout election is a critical step in the process, and here's generally how it works. Option A is a life-only option, so that would be paid to the participant entitled to the benefit. At their death, their spouse would receive no further payments. Option B would be a reduced payment to the client, which would then provide a minimal amount of surviving benefit to the spouse. And option C, which is the most popular, would pay the client the minimum amount, but it would offer the maximum payment to the surviving spouse. So what is common to all pension plans is they use mortality tables and probability analysis to make a bet that generally works for the plan, but not you, specifically the participant. Your election is irreversible, so when you decide on your payout option, you are stuck with that for life. Your income payment may or may not include a cost of living clause. Your payment is always fully taxable to you, and no matter what your election, when you and your spouse pass, the party is over and the payments will stop. Now, what is common to all pension max strategies is that we use the difference between the option A payment and the option C payment to the participant as our budget. If we have enough budget, we can buy enough life insurance to provide a tax-free lump sum of money to the surviving spouse. The lump sum can then be used in any way, but we designed the plan to replace the option C spousal income payment. We beat the system and we give the spouse control by having a lump sum of money rather than waiting on a monthly taxable check payable for an unknown amount of time. So, which option is right for you? Let's explore the options. We have found that almost 100% of the time choosing option A and then doing a pension max strategy is the best option. So let's use a real-world example here. We have a married couple. We have Tim, age 58. We have Sue, age 57. Tim's been with the state for 30 years, and he's going to be entitled to a full 80% pension. Option A is going to be the life-only payment, which in this case would pay Tim $132,500 per year, or about $11,000 a month. But in the event he dies, or when he dies, his spouse will receive zero payments. Option C would pay Tim a lower amount of $120,700, or a little over $10,000 per month. But in the event he passes, his spouse Susan would continue to receive $80,000 in change. Now, the differential premium for the spousal benefit, the difference between the option A and C payment to Tim, is $11,800 per year starting off. And we build in a potential cost of living increase into that number, and we use a 30-year retirement as our example. And when we do that, the differential lifetime cost of going with option C is Tim basically giving up $524,000 and change of forfeited income because he wants to provide this guaranteed stream of income to his spouse. Let's explore this though in more detail. Again, as a fast recap here, option A, life-only payment. Tim would get $132,000 a year for the remainder of his life. When he passes, his wife gets zero. Option C, the extreme, Tim would get $120,000 per year. In the event of his passing, Susan would get $80,000 per year for the remainder of her life, which equals 66%. The difference between the two payment options to Tim is $11,800, and over a lifetime that would amount, over a 30-year retirement, over $500,000 a year in forfeited retirement income. So here's the big question. Is our available premium budget of $11,800, at least to start, enough to purchase an adequate amount of life insurance on Tim to beat the system and give them maximum control? So when does a pension max strategy not make sense? Well, when the client, in this case Tim, is a smoker or is uninsurable or likely subject to an insurance company rating due to health history, may not be viable. When his spouse, in this case Susan, is significantly older, or if she was terminally ill. But the other thing we want to realize is that the younger you are when you set up a pension max strategy, the better off you're going to be. Sometimes it's just easier showing a picture. Here's our pension max flow chart. On the left, you can see obviously the pension plan that we'd be paying Tim his $132,000 a year annual pension payment. Tim's going to take a portion of that. Remember our budget, which was around $12,000. He's going to send that to the insurance company annually to buy a $1.5 million permanent life insurance policy. At some point in the future, when Tim passes away, $1.5 million of tax-free money will be provided to his wife Susan. Now, we designed this strategy to basically have enough money to be able to create and replace the retirement income that she would have received from option C of the pension plan. If you remember, that dollar amount was $80,000 a year. Well, based on Susan's age and the dollar amount here, we'd be able to create about $120,000 per year. Now, she doesn't have to take that money as income over the rest of her life. She could use a portion or a lump sum of that to pay off a house or pay off other debt, gifts to grandkids, pay for college, charitable contributions, traveling the world for that matter. The important thing is that Susan has control because she has control of all the assets, and she's not waiting around for an $80,000 check to arrive from the pension plan. Also note that if Susan passed away shortly thereafter, after receiving, let's say, one or two payments, when she finally passed away, that money would stop. It would be gone. In the case of the pension strategy, there'd be $1.5 million of tax-free money available to Tim and Susan's heirs. So now let's analyze the what-if scenarios in the event that Tim selected option A and did not do a pension strategy, a pension max strategy. In this case, if Tim and Susan both lived a long life, as you can see in the far left, Tim would continue to receive his pension payment. We base this on the fact he's getting $132,000 a year over a 30-year period with a 3% cost of living increase. That would amount to just shy of $5.9 million of lifetime income. So the total financial benefit to the family over that period of time would be $5.89 million, but of course we have to pay taxes, netting out roughly $4.12 million of lifetime after-tax benefits. Scenario number 2 is Tim lives a long life, but Susan dies immediately. And we're using an extreme example here. The strategy would be exactly the same. Tim would continue to get paid that full amount for the remainder of his life, $5.89 million, after tax $4.12 million. Now, what happens though if Tim dies immediately and Susan lives a long life? Tim goes out and he signs up for his pension benefit, and 3 days later he passes away. Well, obviously, because he went for option A, the life-only payment, the pension stops. The cost to their family essentially would be the $5.89 million that was never paid. Total family benefit, zero. Alternatively, both Tim and Susan die immediately after he opts for his pension payment. The same story, no income is paid, a loss of $5.8 million. Now let's analyze the what-if scenario under option C. In this case, Tim is going to be opting for a lower pension payment so that his spouse Susan would get paid in the event he passed away. So scenario 1, Tim and Susan live a long, long life. Lifetime pension benefits are reduced, $5.37 million. Remember, that would be a loss of potentially $524,000 of potential income that he's elected not to take in choosing option C. The financial benefit to the family, $5.37 million. Remember, we got to pay Uncle Sam. That means a net after-tax payment, lifetime payment of $3.76 million. What happens if Tim lives a long life but Susan dies immediately? Same story, but in this case, Tim accepted a $524,000 reduced payment for nothing because that was there to pay a benefit to Susan in the event he passed. In this case, Susan is no longer here, so he's forfeited $500,000 unnecessarily. Option number 3, Tim dies immediately after choosing his pension or initiating his pension, and Susan lives a long life. In this case, option C, she would receive the reduced benefit of $3.58 million over her lifetime. After tax would be about $2.5 million. If both Tim and Susan die immediately after Tim initiates his pension, obviously the full amount of $5.37 million is lost. His family would benefit zero on those dollars. Now here we go. Now we're doing the what if scenario option A combined with the pension max strategy. Same scenario, Tim and Susan both live a long life. Total benefit to the family, $5.6 million, plus $1.5 million of tax-free money paid to the family in the form of the life insurance policy. When you combine that too, that ends up being $5.14 million after tax paid to Tim and Susan's family through the income over their lifetime, as well as the death benefit at the end. What happens if Tim lives a long life and Susan dies immediately? Same story, unchanged. However, this is where it changes. What happens if Tim dies immediately and Susan lives a long life? Well, obviously the pension, option A, would be gone, but the pension max payment would be $1.5 million of tax-free money paid to Susan. That $1.5 million of tax-free money can then be converted into a lifetime income payment of $120,000 per year for 30 years. She doesn't have to take the income that way. She could escalate her payments, take it sooner. The other thing we want to point out is that that $120,000 of income she's receiving, it is not 100% taxable to her. Because remember, we're using this tax-free life insurance money. So she's not paying taxes on the full $120,000. If you recall, option C through the pension would have only paid her $80,000 with a cost of living increase, and that would be fully taxable to her. If both Tim and Susan died immediately after initiating the pension, obviously the pension would be gone. The $5.6 million would never be received by the family. However, the life insurance is still there, and the family would receive a legacy of tax-free $1.5 million all at once. If we combine this, we'll see how the bottom line factors come in here. So now we're going to bottom line the what-if scenarios and compare them. Option A on the top with the pension max strategy, our preferred method, or going with the default of option C with no pension max strategy. Of course, the first scenario, Tim and Susan live a long life. They're going to receive a total lifetime income of $5.6 million plus the value of the tax-free $1.5 million death benefit for a total of $5.14 million after tax. Compare that to the option C, total financial benefit to the family, $5.37 million lifetime benefit, after tax $3.76. The difference between the two, $1.38 million in favor of the option A with the Penn Max strategy. Scenario number 2, Tim lives a long life, Susan dies immediately. The numbers are the same. Option A, Penn Max strategy, is $1.38 million in the green. Scenario number 3, Tim dies immediately, but Susan lives a long life. The total financial benefit to the family will be the $1.5 million tax-free death benefit, because remember, there's no pension. But we can convert that lump sum of money into an income stream for Susan at $120,000 a year for 30 years. That's $3.6 million, or an after-tax basis of $2.5 million. Compare that with option C with no pension max strategy. Total financial benefit would be $3.58 million over Susan's life. After tax, it's $2.5 million. However, we want to point out that she's not getting a lump sum of money at the death of Tim. She's going to be waiting on a check from the state or from the pension at $80,000 per year, which is 100% taxable to her. She doesn't have the lump sum control. So in this case, we still believe that option A with a PenMax strategy at $2.5 million is better because she has more control over those dollars. And then the last scenario, both Tim and Susan die immediately. The total financial benefit to the family, remember, there's no pension payment at all. There will be a tax-free death benefit of $1.5 million. However, with option C with no pension max, because neither of them are alive, there are no pension benefits paid at all. The loss to the family is $5.37 million. So there's zero benefit to the family versus option A with a PenMax at $1.5 million. The top strategy wins the $1.5 million advantage. So here at Retirement CFO, we are all about creating successful retirements. And I mentioned to you earlier that we have some special bonuses for you for sticking with us until the end. Bonus number 1 is available to those who become a Smart Plan Advisory client. If you're watching this video, you've already booked your consultation to learn all about this service. We're going to offer you your own custom pension max strategy for free. We normally charge $500 for this plan design because we only know if it works after we run all the numbers and take the time. And now for bonus number 2 is only for those who become a client and then refer a friend to us who mentions your name and also becomes a Smart Plan Advisory client. We will send you a $100 Amazon gift card as a thank you for your introduction. So I want to thank you for sticking with me till the end, and hopefully you're a little bit more informed now on what a pension max strategy is all about. However, is a pension max strategy viable for you? Well, the only way to determine that is to run the numbers by looking at your pension payouts and your specific circumstances. The good news is you'll be able to explore this as a Smart Plan Advisory client. We really look forward to meeting you in your upcoming retirement consultation, and we thank you for your attention today.